The stoic power of INFJs against toxic people. In the shadowed corners of life, where energy drains and chaos lingers, the INFJ moves silently, observing, analyzing, calculating. To the world, they seem serene, untouchable, but inside, a storm brews. Toxicity is not met with loud confrontation, but with a quiet, unyielding force that dismantles it piece by piece. 1. The silent diagnosis. The INFJ notices it before anyone else. The subtle cracks in behavior, the microaggressions hidden behind polite smiles, the manipulation wrapped in charm. They see the patterns that others ignore, the repetition of toxic cycles that slowly erode trust and sanity. And yet they say nothing. Their stoicism is a shield, not a surrender. In a crowded room, the INFJ doesn't react to the provocation. They observe. Every gesture, every word, every glance is catalogued, stored in the mental archives of their intuition. The toxic person, unaware, continues their performance, oblivious to the quiet dissection of their soul by someone who understands far more than they should. This is the first line of defense, not confrontation, but recognition. By silently diagnosing the toxicity, the INFJ is already several moves ahead. They are aware that engagement without strategy is surrender. To the INFJ, knowledge is power, and understanding the toxic patterns of a person is the beginning of reclaiming control. 2. Emotional containment. Once diagnosed, the INFJ builds invisible walls. Their empathy, which has always been their greatest strength, is now tightly guarded. They no longer pour their energy into someone who drains it. They conserve it, like a dam holding back a river. The INFJ contains their emotions, preventing the toxic person from flooding their inner world. They may smile politely, nod in agreement, even appear engaged, but inside, they are detached, unyielding. No outburst, no tears, no pleading. This is mastery of the self, a calculated stoicism that leaves the toxic person frustrated. For the INFJ, the silence is louder than any argument. It communicates without words that their power remains intact and untouchable. The INFJ understands the danger of emotional reactions. Toxic people feed on them. They twist kindness into weakness, empathy into manipulation. Containment is the INFJ's weapon. They choose who sees their depths and who meets only the surface calm. 3. Strategic withdrawal. Sometimes the most potent response is absence. The INFJ disappears without fanfare. They don't need to argue, to justify, or to explain their boundaries. Toxic people learn quickly that the INFJ's presence is a privilege, not a right. When they withdraw, it is deliberate, a subtle lesson in consequence and accountability. Withdrawal is not cowardice, it is strategy. The INFJ knows that some battles are not theirs to fight. They conserve their energy for clarity, growth, and purpose, and in their absence, the toxic individual is forced to confront their own reflection. Alone with the discomfort they cannot manipulate away. The INFJ, stoic and deliberate, does not vanish into chaos. They move into stillness, and in stillness they reclaim peace. The quiet echo of their absence reverberates louder than confrontation ever could. 4. Observing without judgment. The INFJ's power lies not just in action, but in observation. They watch without immediate judgment, noting every subtle cue, the flicker of insecurity, the forced laughter, the predatory attempts at control. To an outsider, it may seem passive, but to the INFJ, it is a tactical advantage. They understand that toxicity is often a mask for fear, insecurity, or unresolved pain. Yet empathy does not mean indulgence. They do not excuse manipulation. Instead, they catalog it, understanding both the person and the danger they pose. This observational mastery allows the INFJ to respond with precision, when and if they choose. Silently, they separate the person from their behavior, the intention from the impact. By doing so, they maintain inner integrity while navigating outer chaos. It is the art of seeing clearly without being consumed by what they see. 5. Boundaries as weapons. The INFJ's boundaries are invisible yet impenetrable. They do not negotiate their core values or allow repeated invasions of their peace. Where most people react emotionally, the INFJ applies quiet enforcement. a soft but firm refusal, a deliberate no, a step back. These are more lethal than any confrontation. Boundaries are not just lines, they are statements of identity. By maintaining them, the INFJ communicates, without malice, that their life, their energy, and their soul are not for exploitation. Toxic individuals, accustomed to bending others, meet a wall they cannot push through. And in that moment, the Stoic INFJ transforms frustration into quiet dominance. Their strength is subtle but unmistakable. It is the strength of someone who will never compromise themselves to appease chaos. 6. Silent mastery of influence. Despite withdrawal and boundaries, the INFJ can influence without overt effort. They understand people, sometimes better than they understand themselves. A glance, a question, a suggestion, small actions ripple outward, planting seeds of accountability in the minds of toxic people. This is not manipulation in the ordinary sense. It is subtle orchestration, the quiet nudging of outcomes without ever compromising integrity. The INFJ's power is psychological. It is a mastery of influence that leaves others confused, disoriented, and eventually responsible for their own behavior. They act like a shadow on the wall, present but untouchable, guiding outcomes with precision while remaining emotionally detached. Toxic people underestimate this, assuming silence equals weakness. They are wrong. 7. Reclaiming energy through detachment. The INFJ knows that energy is their most precious resource. Every interaction with toxicity is a potential drain. By maintaining detachment, emotional, physical, spiritual, they reclaim what others expend trying to manipulate them. Detachment is not coldness. It is deliberate self-preservation. They prioritize themselves without apology, ensuring that their life remains aligned with growth, creativity, and authentic connection. They understand that indulgence in toxicity, even subtly, is surrender. The Stoic INFJ thrives in detachment. Their peace is a fortress, and their focus is unwavering. Toxicity has no purchase in a mind that has already chosen serenity over chaos. 8. Transforming pain into power. Finally, the INFJ turns every encounter with toxicity into a lesson, a tool, a step toward mastery. They internalize experiences, reflect deeply, and emerge stronger, sharper, and more aligned with their authentic selves. Pain does not break them, it refines them. Where others burn bridges in anger, the INFJ builds clarity. Where others lash out, the INFJ cultivates insight. Every toxic encounter is transformed into strategy, every manipulation into self-knowledge. Their stoicism is both armor and catalyst. They rise above toxicity, leaving behind only the quiet echo of their presence, a presence that cannot be shaken, corrupted, or diminished. The INFJ does not need revenge. They are already victorious in their silence, in their detachment, in their unwavering alignment with self. They have already transcended every toxic attempt to undermine them. In the end, the INFJ's treatment of toxic people is not about destruction, not about confrontation. It is about sovereignty. It is the quiet assertion that their energy, their mind, and their soul belong only to them. And in this silent, stoic mastery, they become untouchable, unshakable, and unforgettable. To witness an INFJ in this state is to see calmness as power, detachment as dominance, and stoicism as a weapon more effective than any fury. Toxicity may rage, manipulate, and intimidate, but the INFJ remains unbroken, sovereign, and serene.